I'm going to use this video to just drive one point home really quickly. So entrepreneurial people, and especially college students, have a lot of reasons for why they're not building yet, why they're not starting a company yet. Everybody says one day, one day, one day, right? And then you say, why haven't you yet? And in the first video, I said that the biggest reason is that they don't have an idea. And so we talked about how to get one. Now I want to talk about another big reason, which is they're not ready. They're not qualified. They don't have the skills. And so I kind of laugh when I think about this because this was definitely me. When I was a sophomore in college, I waited months and months and months to do anything at all. I had these ideas, these things that I wanted to build, these things that I thought should exist, but I was like, that's not me. I'm not ready for that. I haven't had any jobs that would teach me how to do this. I don't have the skills. It's not me. It's somebody else should do that. And that's such a limiting belief that I think squashes people's potential for no reason. And so that's what I want to talk about today. So if you don't know me, I'm Nathan Bucci. I run Catalyst XL. We help university students join startups or start their own through our 4-week program. Everything that I teach here and at Catalyst are the lessons that I've learned working with 9 VCs and over 30 startups over the past couple of years, and also helping hundreds of students get internships in startups and VC, and also help them bring their own startups from 0 to 1. So like I said, I just want to drive this one point home. So here is essentially the point. There is nothing that prepares you to build a company except building a company. No matter when you start, you're going to be just as unqualified as you would be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Doesn't matter. You're going to be unqualified. You're going to be bad at most of the things that are required of you to make it work. But with time, you'll become good at those things. But you won't just instantly be good. And it doesn't matter what your background is or where you come from, what companies you've worked at. It doesn't matter. You just won't be qualified. So the best thing to do is just start as soon as possible. Start paying down that ignorance tax, as some people say. And by some people, I mean Alex Hormozy. Start paying down that ignorance tax. Start learning what you need to learn in order to make it work. Build those skills. And then by the time it matters, by the time you need it to, you will be ready. So I especially say this to college students, to people at university who are thinking about building, who are like, I can't do it yet. I got my internship and I'm in these clubs and I got class. And so, but like maybe in my 5 years into my career, or maybe after I graduate, blah, 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 blah. The thing is, if you want to do it one day, you have to start now, because the more comfortable you get at some job, the more inertia there's going to be to start. Because why would you need to start? You already got this great salary, you got this great situation. You don't need to do any more besides work from 9 to 5, and then you can do whatever you want after work, and you still make this amount of money. So there's tons of inertia in terms of actually getting something started when you're already at that point of comfort. So that's one thing I want to say. The other thing is, those jobs, like I said, will not prepare you any more than you're prepared right now. And I know this because the other day I was having a conversation with 2 people who were 20 years into their career. One of them was an expert fundraiser. He had worked at some big established company, helped them raise millions of dollars in funding. And then he went and started his own venture and was telling us that it was way more difficult than he anticipated. And he didn't have any luck raising funds. It was almost impossible. And that's what fundraising in startups is, no matter where you come from, no matter who you are, no matter what kind of expert fundraiser you are. And so the reason that he didn't expect it to be so difficult is because he didn't understand that at the job he was at, there were so many people that came before him that did very necessary things in order to make his fundraising go well, such as, namely, building a brand, right? Building a great team. These are all things that he had basically taken for granted at this big company because he just plugged in and boom, it worked. He was able to fundraise. I mean, he probably took some time to get good at it, but you understand what I'm trying to say. So similarly, this other lady in the call, she was a 20-year sales rep somewhere, some big company. I didn't catch where. And she said she had gotten tons of awards in sales. She was always the top sales rep at her company. And now she's starting her own thing. She's starting to try to do sales, and no luck. She can't get any sales. It's really, really difficult. She feels like she's starting again at 0. She doesn't feel like she's any more qualified as a result of that job that she did. And so I say this because, of course, I'm a young guy. What do I know? These are people way older than me confirming this idea that no matter when you start, you just won't be qualified. And so the way I see it, you have a decision to make. which is you can suck now when it doesn't matter. If you're a college student, you can suck when it doesn't matter, or you can suck when it matters. And so what I mean by that is if you are, especially if you're a college student, but whatever your situation is, if you have some sense of stability, some sense of opportunities to fall back on, to pursue, even if things didn't go well, then it wouldn't really matter if you're bad right now. And so when I started working on Catalyst, I was a sophomore in college. I took that summer to I dropped my internship to work on it. And I was not good at working on it that summer. Like in terms of moving the needle and actually being productive, I had no idea what I was doing. But I had that entire summer to work that out of my system and build the skills that I needed to build so that by the time I was full-time on Catalyst, I knew what I needed to do in order to drive the company forward. And so there was an ignorance tax to pay down, and I'm still paying it down. I still don't know everything I could. Obviously, I'm only a couple of years into this. But I say all this because if you are waiting for some elevated level of qualification that you think you'll get through jobs and things like that, I promise that you will not. You could even read tons of books. You could have tons of mentors. Until you're actually building, though, it won't matter. I could have read the greatest book in entrepreneurship before building, and it probably wouldn't have saved me much time just because I wouldn't have been able to remember it or retain it because it didn't apply to my situation at the time. You just have to start building, and you have to put stakes in the game in order to be able to build the skills and learn the things you need to learn. So to drive it home and to close it off, like I said, you can decide if you want to suck when it matters or when it doesn't matter. If it wouldn't matter right now, then I would just 100% start now so that when it's time to actually take off or when you have the option to get more serious, you are much more ready to do it.